Hey friends, welcome back. I am feeling so guilty that I did not get this week's video up on time. So I'm going to make it up to you by sharing something really special. I'm going to share with you guys this week a recipe for one of my all-time favorite things to eat right now. It's super healthy and good for you, but it's also really luxurious and delicious and amazing. And there's lots of different ways that you can use it as well. So what is it that we're making? We're doing fresh, homemade coconut almond cream. So this is a young Thai coconut, if you're not familiar. This is a variety of coconut, but it's young. It's normally like this big green thing. You may have seen it look like that. But they trim the husk off and then they leave you with this cute little design. You can find these in Whole Foods, or if you're lucky enough to have an Asian market near you, you can usually get them a lot cheaper there. But these are so delicious and they're so good for you. So I use these to make my homemade fresh coconut almond cream. And I do different varieties. I do a coconut cashew cream as well. There's lots of different ways that you can change this up. You can use hemp. Basically any nuts or seeds you can mix and match with this. But today I'm going to show you the coconut almond version. So the first thing you need to do is soak your almonds. You can see I've done mine already. I soaked them overnight just because that's what's easiest to do. You just put some almonds in here. I did 2 handfuls of almonds. I did not measure. I don't worry about measuring this at all. And then I just covered it with some filtered water. The almonds will soak up some of the water, so you do want to use clean filtered water, and you also want to add more water than you have almonds. Let it soak overnight. Once you've soaked your nuts, drain the water off of them. Give them a little rinse, and then pour that water off again. And now this next part is totally optional, but I like to remove the skins from the almonds so that way my yogurt will stay nice and white. But it's really easy to do when they've soaked for a long time, because when they've been soaked long enough, all you have to do is kind of pinch it and give it, like, slide it between your thumb and forefinger, and the skin slides right off, and you're just left with the pretty white almond. So now that we've got all of the almonds skinned, now it's time to open up the coconut. For the sake of time in this video, I'm not going to show you the details of how to open a coconut, but I do have an entire video of that on our business channel, so I will link to that in the description below. The process starts with using a big butcher knife to shave off the white husk from the pointy top. Then the next step is to basically puncture a hole in your coconut. I use this thing, I don't even remember what you call it. People use it, a meat tenderizer. Of course, we don't need any meat, so I just use this as a hammer to bang it on the end of my knife and chisel my way into my coconut. So I just take it right up against a hard, stable surface. So I'm using my countertop and my refrigerator. And then I continue that process about halfway around the coconut until I can kind of pop the top up and get the water out. Then you'll be able to pop the top off like this, and as you can see, it's full of water. So we're going to use a strainer and strain it just to make sure we don't have any wood chips in our coconut water, and then we'll scoop the meat out. And then we just use a spoon to scrape out all the coconut meat. Some coconuts come out really easy, others are more difficult. You can see I don't worry about getting it perfect. I just run it under the sink and peel off any of these little bits. This is just kind of flimsy, soft paper. It's not like the hard wood chips, so it's real easy to remove any of that and wash it out before you use the meat. Now as I clean off the coconut meat, I just set it right back in the coconut water, and now I've got my peeled almonds and my fresh coconut meat plus coconut water that I can blend together into my cream. So I'm using my handy dandy Vitamix. I definitely recommend a high-powered blender if you have it for this. Something like a Vitamix or a Blendtec or even a NutriBullet would probably work well enough for this, just so you can get it really creamy and smooth. And the other thing is, each coconut's going to be a little bit different as far as how much meat and how much water you get out of it. So it's not an exact measured science when you're making this. Just go with the flow, based on your coconut. So sometimes I use all the coconut water from the coconut. Other times it has a lot of water, and so I don't need that much liquid. In that case, I just drink some of it off, use the rest, or I save some and put it aside to use in a smoothie. And it also depends just on how thick and creamy you want your cream, or if you like it a bit more thin. I personally have found that I like it a bit thinner. It just goes further, I get more out of it, and I use it as a topping for a lot of things. So I like it a bit more on the thin side. So now our ingredients are prepped and ready. Let's get to blending. I'm gonna add the coconut water and coconut meat first, just so that the water is at the bottom of the blender, and it will help to pull everything down and get it blending nice and easy. Then I'm gonna add the soaked and peeled almonds. And lastly, I'm gonna add a little bit of almond extract. Now, if you do any other nuts or seeds, you would do a vanilla extract probably to enhance the flavor. Since I'm using almonds, I'm gonna use a pure almond extract, just a little bit to strengthen the flavor of the almonds. And then for a little extra sweetness, I'm gonna add some maple syrup. And again, I just do this by taste. I don't actually measure it out. Now we are ready to start blending. You may need your tamper for this, but I find because I like mine a little bit more thin and liquidy, I don't always need to use a tamper. And so that is your coconut almond cream. Now I just taste test it from here, decide if I need to add a little extra maple syrup, or if I want to thin it out at all, add any extra water. But I think this looks perfect. Now before my camera battery dies on us, let's talk real quickly about how you can use this. My favorite way to use this is to just eat it with a spoon straight out of the container. I like it a little bit thicker for that. Or I also love to use it as a fruit dip. So apple slices work amazingly, strawberries, or you could just throw fruit into it, use it like a yogurt. So amazing. And another thing I like to do is to make like a chocolate mug cake, and then I pour some of this over the top, and it is so good. And it's a healthy treat. That way you can have something sweet, but you're at least still controlling the ingredients, and you're making sure you get quality ingredients. Even in your sweet treats, you're getting foods that are good for you. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Let me know in the comments below if you give this a try and how much you love it, because I know that you